Hi, welcome. My name is Norma Pacheco, and I'm one of the admissions counselors here at Kennesaw State University.
Hi everybody, my name is Garrett Campbell. I am the event coordinator here for the Office of Admissions. Super excited to be here with you this afternoon for our Ask Admissions Live. I do have our news from the nest that we will go over, and then we'll introduce our special guests today. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is declaration days. You have 2 days left to post on social media declaring that you are coming to KSU. It's awesome. We won last year, and I saw the shirts and t-shirts that we got. It was really cool. You definitely want to do that, so get those posts out there, help us get up there, and hopefully maybe we can go for 2 years in a row that we win. The next thing I want to share with you is what is near and dear to my heart, and that is coming to visit our campus. You definitely want to come and check us out. We are having in-person tours. We have different COVID safety things in place to keep you safe while you're on campus, and you get to experience KSU, and that is the best way to get a feel for the university. So we are offering tours in person. We also have a great virtual tour on our website. We even have a self-guided tour option for you as well. All sorts of cool ways to experience KSU. One such thing that we have next week is actually our accepted student campus tours. So next week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday on both campuses, we will have an opportunity, if you've been accepted into the university, to come and not only get a tour of campus, but meet with the academic department that you are interested in. They'll be there to tell you all about their program, answer any questions that you have. You'll see Dr. Palmer again, who you'll meet today. So lots of really cool, exciting things that we have planned for you. So come see our campus. It is a great time to visit KSU. Another great thing to help you as an accepted student to get ready for coming to KSU in the fall is to sign up for orientation. If you have been accepted, hopefully you've seen those next steps, or you're coming next week to learn more about those next steps. One of the most important ones is signing up for orientation. The earlier in the summer you come to orientation, the better, because you know what you do at orientation, a ton of cool things, but one of the biggest things is you sign up for your first semester of classes. So you definitely want to get there early. The earlier in the summer you come, the more class options you have available. So be sure and sign up for orientation. It's open now for you to sign up to come and be a part of orientation this summer to get ready to be an owl this fall. All right, and then I have some important deadlines coming up, some very soon. Our summer application deadline is May 1st. That is 2 days from today, so get those applications in if you're wanting to join us in the summer semester. Our fall final deadline for applications is June 1st, and then our fall 21 transfer deadline is June 15th. I have all these dates in my head, but I'm double checking myself to make sure I'm telling you these correctly. So definitely get those applications in, get your documents in, and be a part of Owl Nation. The last thing I have for you is financial aid, that all verification documentation, the priority deadline is May 1st. A lot of stuff happening on May 1st. You have 2 days for declaration days, 2 days for that summer deadline, and 2 days to get that financial aid verification documentation in. So get that into us. That is all I have for the news for the nest. So that's all I got.
Yeah, awesome. So, moving with the rest of the Ask Admissions today, I want to present to you Dr. Laura Palmer. And so if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself, more about your program.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Well, first, thanks. I'm very glad to be here and have the opportunity to connect with your audience on Facebook Live. That's very exciting. So I am Dr. Laura Palmer, and I'm the chair of a department you probably haven't heard of called Technical Communication and Interactive Design. And we're small, but we are mightily powerful in what we do with students and how we will prepare them to go out and find jobs. So I came to Kennesaw via my first job after grad school, and I actually have a PhD in what is called technical communication. And people go, is that a thing? And I go, yeah, it is. So technical communicators are the people who take complex ideas and simplify them for various audiences. Years ago, technical writer was the term, but we use graphics, we use design, we use video, we use words, photography. We've become very multimodal communicators. And I got into tech comm purely by accident. I was in my undergrad degree, and I could either take another literature class, didn't like the first one so much. So someone said, well, you can take this tech comm class. And I went, I'm in. And it turned out that it appealed to everything I liked to do. I had always imagined myself an artist, but I knew that didn't pay. But TCom has the ability to create designed products, booklets, brochures, web stuff, you name it. And as well, it really tapped into my love of explaining things to people. I'm one of those people, if you want something explained, I will do it, probably for a long time sometimes. So anyway, that's how I got into TCom. And I came here, and of course I started my job, and now I am the department chair for a department called TCom and Interactive Design. So we have 2 degrees. One is technical communication, and we prepare undergrads to go out and take all their competencies and apply them in a variety of areas. And our other degrees, a little bit related, but super cutting edge. It's called Interactive Design. And this one gets even more creative than TCom. It allows you to design the layouts and the look and feel of all of our devices today, our laptops, our tablets, our phones, all the things we're swiping and sliding on. Someone has to design that look and feel, figure out how it's going to work and how the path for the user is going to occur. So that's the other thing we do as well. They're both Bachelor of Science degrees. And people always ask me, why is that important? I actually did take a second language when I was in university in Canada, and it was French, because that's what we do in Canada, we take French. But it doesn't have a second language requirement, and so that gives you a little bit more breadth in electives, and just you can do some really cool things. So that's basically who I am and what our department does.
Awesome. So can you tell me a little bit more about the technical communications, maybe what some classes might look like?
Yeah. So technical communication was often situated in English departments and had a very literary, writing-based focus. And by keeping it in our department, we are able to go in new and more modern directions. So when I took over as chair and got the opportunity to start revising curriculum, I was like, we are going to the future, people. So we have classes now that are really not typical of most programs. The one I teach every year is called Search Engine Optimization and Analytics, and people go, oh, what's that? Okay, well, think about it. People have to attract users to the content, their content on the web. So you want to be able to develop content and images and videos and all these different components, some of them public facing, some of them behind the page, that when a person goes to Google and types in wombat hair sweater options, the return from Google will get you exactly what you want. So I teach that class, and then we look at our success or our failure sometimes through Google Analytics to see, did our development of keywords and image tagging and all these other elements serve our purpose to get people. So it's about an iteration. You deploy, you measure, you figure out what you need to do next. We also have another class called Information Architecture. So someone has to, again, design structures of a variety of things. We used to think of information architecture with just documents, but it's, of course, very digital right now. And another cool class we have is usability testing. And that's part of the research focus in our department. So we have a class that trains students how to be researchers, how to work with participants, how to sit them down, put them in front of that computer and walk and talk through various processes in a software product. Mm-hmm. And so these are great hands-on competencies to develop, and not to mention they are in high demand in Atlanta. As the 4th biggest tech sector now in the US, with Atlanta booming, that kind of research skill is just so important now. And we're seeing our students get snapped up pretty regularly.
That's great.
Yeah, so that really amounts to the next question that we had about internships and job placement.
Oh,
What does
yes.
that look like for, where do our students end up working, or where do they get experiences from?
So a lot of them are working, obviously in places you wouldn't have heard of, but some of them are very big. We have a strong connection with Home Depot's user experience division, and they're the division of Home Depot that designs how the cash registers work, how the website works, etc. So they pick up our students as interns, and they pay very well. It's $20 an hour.
That's
which
awesome.
is really,
That's
really
really
good. Absolutely. And then if the student works out well, they usually bring them on in as a full-time employee. So I've got 2 right now who are under consideration. But our students go to the financial services sector. I've got one who's probably going to get a job offer there soon. State Farm, I'm just trying to think. It's in my head and it's gone, but banking, financial services, education, places like Home Depot.
So the Home Depot, kind of like the app. I know that, like, where it says like what aisle, everything that just honestly, I think Home Depot is so user friendly. It's ridiculous.
Right.
You know, I don't have to press card for it to actually do the transaction. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful, and a lot of that work comes from students who have been in our program and gone to work at Home Depot.
That was one of the coolest things because we did spotlight tours with technical communication and interactive design, and I loved when y'all shared that story that they were part of making that self-checkout. So now every time I go and do the self-checkout, I think of y'all's department, and it's incredible what they did.
It's
and it's easy, like Norma said, it's very user-friendly, which I need.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, we all encounter systems where you're poking at it and clicking with your mouth and going, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's what usability does. It helps perfect products for end users, so they have a great experience and a good feeling.
And so you had talked about earlier on that, you know, you were a student early on that loved, you know, technical, kind of having that artist, having all of these things, but then also love explaining things. So what kind of students do you feel would do really well in technical communication?
So think about this. There's always, we all have friends who, if you buy a new phone and you go, yeah, I don't quite know how this works, you'll have that one friend who runs up, rips it out of your hand and says, let me show you. It's going to be, the TechCom students are the ones who are really curious, and they like to figure out how things work. They like to problem solve. And so they'll be that person that grabs the phone, or if you're not sure, why can't I get my tablet on the Wi-Fi in this building? Again, they're going to take it and do it, and they're going to tell you how. But more importantly, they're not going to tell you necessarily from their perspective. They're going to tell you in a way that meets your level of understanding. And that's the important thing.
Yeah, definitely.
You have to meet your users where they are. So if grandma got a new tablet, maybe you're going to have to change your approach to how you're going to explain it to her. But that's where we really differentiate ourselves from other types of writers and content developers, is the user-centered focus.
Would you think this program would be good for people to take just classes, even if they were doing other programs, that it would help with other majors that we have here at KSU?
Well, fortunately, we do have a minor, which is great. And you can take some key classes and weave them into your degree. For example, we get some English majors who want to take our minor because, you know, literature's great, right? But maybe you want to add some different competencies in terms of technical comm onto a traditional English degree. But if you are going to be anywhere where you're going to have to communicate with other people, and where does that not happen, right? It's a great program to take because it will help you think about how you communicate, how to simplify information for any type of end user. If they need a video, if they need diagrams, if they need writing, how are you going to work with that? And I also recommend technical communication with a second language is a great way to go. Right now, one of my graduating students, she actually speaks and reads fluent Russian. I did not know this. And now she's got a TechCom minor, or major, pardon me, and she's going to be a hot commodity on the market, because
those critical languages are important.
Those languages are really important. So she'll be able to, you know, work in some really cool places with a second language.
That is pretty great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. And so you also mentioned just now, it's a great program. It features so many things. So what can you say for a student who's maybe considering between different universities and stuff and thinking about technical communication?
Okay.
What makes KSU a great choice for them?
Well, I'll tell you right now, we're the only state school with technical communication in Georgia. And we have been the only program, a Bachelor of Science program in Georgia for 25 years now.
Oh, wow. So lots of experience here.
So we have been around, we have a long history. Mercer does do a technical communication program similarly, but they're embedded directly into engineering, and they're private. So that changes the focus a little bit. But we're broad-based. We give you the competencies to move in any direction you might want to move to after your degree is complete. So that's what makes us really cool. And there's that, of course, state fees, not private school type
Definitely,
fees.
definitely. So what kind of scholarships do some of our students have access to?
Right, so we do have scholarships. Even though we're a small department, we have right now the Ken Rainey Scholarship. And Ken was actually one of the department chairs in the past, and was a big name in the field when technical communication first came along. So we have that scholarship. We have another endowed scholarship, the Burns Scholarship, and we have a new one coming online for next year. So we do have opportunities for students to receive some financial assistance as well.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And then what kind of jobs, do students, I know we talked about internships, but, do students, do they usually stay in Georgia, or do they even go international? Like, where have you seen our students?
They don't necessarily go international, but they certainly go out of state because there's a lot of opportunities. For example, if you go to the Dallas Metroplex, tons of jobs there. But there's so much demand in Atlanta right now, where we used to see students move. They don't necessarily do so, just because they can find a job here for the first few years to get their career established.
Yeah, I've seen that before, especially when you kind of like look up technical communication. Lots of different jobs in so many areas I would have never thought.
Right.
You would think that they kind of just stick in a kind of engineering or computer science area, but
no.
it's really broad.
It is actually broader than you would imagine, because some go into like health sciences, or others, as I was saying, financial services. It really depends on what your areas of interest are, but it certainly allows you to combine what you may be interested in with a really practical degree that has a great career advantages. The Bureau of Labor Management says TCom positions are going to grow about 7% over the next 5 to 7 years.
I can only imagine now, especially after we've done this kind of virtual life and everything. Like, it's needed more than ever to be able to kind of, everyone had to be switched to Zoom and Teams, and so I'm sure there's technical communicators running.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I worked with some at another institution that I was at, and we had a whole department of just technical communication, staff that would help us if I said, oh, I want to build this website for my students to connect to this, but I don't know how to word it, and I don't know what I need to tell the computer science people to do.
Right.
And they would make life easier. I just told them, this is what I want, and I want it when they click this, it gets this, and they're like, la, and they just create this amazing stuff for me.
I know.
It was beautiful.
Isn't it nice to have that happen?
Yeah, I miss that middle, like having that person that I can just talk to.
Yeah.
You don't always get that. And then how can students contact your department? How do they get in touch with you?
So the best way to contact our department is through our department email, which is tcid@kennesaw.edu, and that will connect you with one of my 2 administrative assistants, either Donna McPherson or Sarah Weldon, and they'll get back to you if you're interested in our programs, tell you a little bit more about it, tell you what you should think about for your first year, maybe try and get you into our introductory course, TCom 2010, as soon as possible, and they'll get you set up and on your way to being a successful TCom major.
Awesome. And so let's say a student is kind of just figuring out, I run into a lot of incoming freshmen who just don't know what they want to major yet.
Yeah.
So there might be declared someone else. Can they potentially use that class as an elective to see if they like it or while they're taking course?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. They could take TCom 2010, which is the introductory class, and they could try it out and see if they like the thought processes and the detail that goes into being an effective technical
Perfect.
communicator.
That's really great to know. Also then, if students have not been accepted yet, they can also contact your office?
Absolutely. We would love to hear from students who may have questions, are still getting their materials in for fall. We, have loved to have you come out even. Perfect. Yeah, come on out, see us.
Yeah. I mean, we have in-person tours. I'm sure
Right.
we'll have spotlight tours in the future too again, and I'm sure we'll have you all in person so that we can meet you all and have you all kind of see what the facilities would look like and
Right.
all of that. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, and you can meet some of the faculty and see what we're all about.
I have to say, I have to give them a shout out because I've worked with Sarah, Donna, and Dr. Palmer, and they're all amazing and they're super helpful. And I've got to see them present and talk about the different things, and just what y'all do is incredible. And just I know how much y'all are there to help students, which is incredible.
So yeah, we'd love to see students. Come on out.
Awesome. So is there any other fun facts that you want to tell us about technical communication or?
Well, there's a lot of technical communicator jokes, and I can't remember a single one right now.
It always happens to me.
It always happens. Put a camera on me, I forget the jokes. So I just would tell people it's a great profession. It's got good growth, good advancement. Our classes are interesting. You'll like the people that you work with. Our faculty are fantastic. Really, they are. And, you know, I never regretted those couple of courses I took way back in the day. It became sort of an accidental choice, but I'm here today as a professor of technical communication, so I think it worked out really well.
It was meant to be.
It was, yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Dr. Palmer. So we do have a question from our audience, so if you could share that with me.
So it's more of a statement, and I'm hoping it'll maybe drive a little more conversation,
Sure.
continue the conversation. Jason says that he is an interactive designer that works with technical writers every day. His minor was in technical communication, and it gave him a huge leap forward in the workplace. And he says everything that, so I guess he was one of your students. That Laura taught me, and Laura is so right about the demand. We are constantly hiring new writers.
Yes, we are. And do you know Jason's last name?
Shaft.
Yeah, Jason.
You
Hi.
recognize the name. See, that's cool that your
Yeah.
professor, yeah.
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 Jason was in my SEO class a few years back before
Yeah,
he
look
graduated.
at that. Still remembers the class and everything, so that's awesome. when
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah. And thanks so much for the shout out, Jason. That's really great that, you know, you're seeing the value of combining TechCom with some interactive design and making it all happen in the workplace. I really appreciate that feedback.
And do you think, I don't know if you can open up about that, but maybe what salaries look like? Our students ask us about that.
Okay, well,
Let's get to the money.
Let's get to the money. I've got a document I'm going to share with your group after, and it's actually from a employment agency, but they do a specific document on creative technical writing and other jobs. And I will share that. So technical communicators go out probably at about 55 on the low end right now. We'll see some go in at about 60. Interactive designers will go out a bit higher because, again, demand drives the market. So you can probably expect 60 to 65 going out. Home Depot, as an example, I always have to sit down and brace myself because they pay 85 when they hire students on full time. And it's like, oh my. So I have to take a deep breath on that one. They're kind of out of the norm though. So 60-ish.
Awesome.
That's still pretty great.
I'm like, I'm going to enroll in technical communication.
Yeah, come on over.
Use that TAP benefit.
Yeah. So that's where the jobs are now. And of course, there's always some minor fluctuations based on location, but again, Atlanta has pretty stable salaries.
That is pretty great. And I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's a very generous type of salary for the area,
Yeah.
definitely.
For the area, absolutely. It's great.
I think that's very unique that you have this great opportunity for jobs after graduation with a great starting pay, but that it's a program that is so close that a shout out from a student a couple years ago, you remember not only him, but the class and
Yep.
stuff that shows how connected you are in that program, which I think is really awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember all my students pretty well. I don't teach much because I do mostly administrative work now, but I always have that one class a year, and you know it's 25 students. I can remember 25 students a year.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So what does that look like for class sizes? What does that kind of average look like?
So a lot of our classes are fairly technically focused. So with that in mind, I like to keep the size down a little bit, you know, about 22 to 25, because, you know, you're teaching technical concepts to people who don't see themselves as technical. Computer science people are always go like, yeah, I'm technical. My people go, oh. They don't see themselves right away as that, but actually they are. And they embrace it pretty quickly and are proud, definitely proud of it.
Awesome.
Yeah, not too big classes,
That's
not a
perfect.
big department. You'll get to know people well. You'll definitely make friends because you can't not. We're small.
And I'm sure that also helps when students are looking for internships with recommendations and stuff
Oh.
like that.
Oh,
Definitely
yes.
having that personal, like, I remember Jason. I knew,
Right.
like, that's perfect.
Absolutely, and for grad school too. Some of them go
yes.
on to grad school. So I think I wrote 3 references for grad school just this spring.
What programs do you see them going into for grad programs?
Georgia Tech has an HCI program, or Human-Computer Interaction,
Okay.
and that relates a lot to what we do in TechCom or interactive design particularly. So they're interested in that. Some of them have gone to Bentley. Bentley has also a big HCI program. And there was one, it'll come back to me, Kent State as well. So those are the kind of directions they go. They tend to follow what they've learned and loved and continue on at the master's level.
This program opens so many doors
It
for
does.
you.
It
That's
does,
incredible.
it does. And so we have another question from our audience.
Another just, I guess, testimonial. Brandon Robinson said that he's a current student and loved taking TCom classes. That's the abbreviation.
Yeah,
guys.
we say
It's
TCom.
classes. Okay, even though he's not a TCom major, the class definitely gave him a leg up in his arts and writing courses. So it seems like maybe the minor too is a really good option.
It is
a lot of
it is a
people.
really good option. And one thing we just added, we had the intro to tech writing. We added advanced this year. So people have a 3,000 level option now too,
that's fantastic.
which took people in the direction of white papers and more complex documents and artifacts.
That's awesome. That's it for now.
Okay.
So what are some of your favorite projects that your students work on in their classes? Whether it's, going out and doing the internships like you shared, or like
Right.
projects that y'all have them work on just to kind of develop those skills.
So in my class, I make them do an SEO playbook at the end of the semester. So what do you think a playbook is? What do you know playbook from?
Like a coach playbook?
I was going to
Sports,
say,
yeah.
like
I was
sports, like
yeah.
coaching and stuff.
It's
What I don't
sports.
watch. I was like,
Of course, my mind went to also like video game rules too,
Well,
so
okay.
that's kind of where my brain
All
went,
right.
because I was not very
So-
sports inclined.
So a lot of information has moved away from the ominous report this thick with, black text for 2,000 pages. We don't do that anymore when we want to communicate. We want to make communication engaging. We want to keep our reader there. We want them to flip those pages. So playbooks are guidelines on what you've done, what you will do, etc. So I make my students each take a website, and they use their own usually, and they have to leverage it for SEO. So all the concepts in the class we take, they apply, they measure with Google Analytics, etc. And then at the end, I say, okay, now make a really visual playbook that captures where you started, what you did, and where you're going. So it's highly graphical. And I make them design it not for print, because no one prints anymore, right?
Yeah.
Let me hope not. So I make them design it in a cool, irregular shape, not 8.5 by 11. It has to be colorful, engaging graphics, really executive explanations, not bogging people down. So it's a fun project, definitely. But I think my favorite thing just happened last week.
Oh.
And I realized I forgot to invite you guys, sorry. But it was our student showcase, which we
have
did.
to definitely tell us next year.
Yeah, we'll get you in next year. Our student showcase. So at the end of April, every year, the graduating seniors put on a show, and it is all their work from the year, their graduating portfolio, the artifact they would take to the workplace and say, hey, here's what I can do. And we did it this year in an online conference platform because of COVID, and it worked so well.
I can only imagine, yeah.
And so what we do is we invite potential employers and other people in industry who may be looking to hire.
So like a reverse job fair kind
It's a
of
reverse
thing.
job fair.
That is
And
awesome.
the
Love it.
students do their presentations, and people wandered around the digital space, looked at their materials, and asked questions, and it was great. And we do that every time, and it's a wonderful way to really assemble your body of work and reflect on, what have I done in these 4 years? And most students are like, wow, I didn't realize I had done this much, when you put it all together into a package. So, and then we make sure they have a LinkedIn profile that connects to their portfolio, because LinkedIn is so important for job finding today. And it's just a great event to meet the faculty, meet the students, and get some employers in to see what's going on.
That's pretty cool that you
cool
don't just focus on
opportunity.
like the class stuff, but you also get them ready for their jobs and
Right.
careers. That's fantastic.
And they get to see that whole trajectory from where they
Yeah.
started to where they are now.
I'm sure they saw great improvements on just like how they started off.
Absolutely,
That
you
is
know.
awesome.
So that's kind of fun, and it's just a wonderful way for them to be prepared to take that next step. Because once you go across that stage, you're on to the next step, and that is your career.
Yeah.
And we want them to certainly be successful.
Is there any kinds of things that students maybe like you hear from your students that get involved in on campus? Any specific club or anything that is tied with them?
Sometimes I have them get involved with the hackathons.
Okay.
Okay, that's computer
Those are
science.
really cool.
Just as a footnote to you all out there, I share a building with computer science, so a lot of my things are tightly connected to what goes on in computer science. So students might get involved in the hackathons. That's a really big thing that goes on. We also run a lot of days of. So World Usability Day, World Information Architecture Day, World Interaction Design Day. Those are actual global events, and we sponsor at least a couple of those every year on campus, and students love those. In the past, we did events on campus. We had people come by, do little usability tests, and just really engage with different ideas. So those days of specialty global events are fantastic.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that maybe you would like our students to know that maybe, like something that you feel that they should know while they're applying or as they're considering technical communication?
Well, first off, really generally, don't marry yourself to your first major.
That's
Mine was political science. What was yours?
Mine was education to be a teacher, so that changed.
And
Political science too.
political science.
Yeah. No.
I realized after one semester that was not going to work.
Yeah.
So be open when you get to college. And again, I came across technical communication more by a fluke than anything else. But again, it's carried me for so many years in so many amazing ways. Biggest piece of advice I would think about is consider what you like to do. Where are your interests? Now, I actually, whoops, sorry guys, I hit the mic. I actually wanted to be an artist, and I have gone to art school, and I have never yet finished, but I'll get there. And the problem was with art school, there was that gaping question that family members would always ask, well, what are you going to do with that? And what I want to say is a lot of famous technical communicators were actually writers doing beautiful literary work or design work outside their careers as technical communicators. But they were able to have something that really appealed to what they wanted to do in their day job, and then they could do their really wild creative stuff on the weekends.
cool.
So that's what the thing I want you to consider most about TechCom. It will play into your strengths if you like writing, if you like design, if you like explaining things, if you want to make instructional video, you'll be great. And certainly you will also then be tied to maybe the things that are your passion outside of work.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And so kind of before we kind of close this today, if you could please, Dr. Palmer, tell us a little bit more about how they can communicate with you again, your email, that way they can kind of have that reference just in case they didn't get it earlier on.
Absolutely. So email my department at tcid.kennesaw.edu, and that connects you with my professional advisor, Ms. Donna McPherson, and my student community engagement coordinator, Ms. Sarah Weldon. And they can answer your questions, send you any collateral, talk about what you would need to take if you were to come in as a first-time full-time freshman into TechCom, and get you set up for what I think is going to be a really interesting and fulfilling career.
Awesome. Oh, and just one question that kind of popped up just now thinking about it. Can some of your classes be completely online or?
Some.
Yeah. Or
We have, definitely you can do the introductory class, tech writing online. Most of our other classes, you know, we've managed it this year online. I prefer my SEO class face-to-face because I actually like to sit people down in a computer lab and say, we're going to do this now. Brace for impact, and actually get them into doing things live and not being scared of the technology. And you know, if you think of yourself as a humanities person with that intersection of technology, you're going to be a great technical communicator. You want to understand, you want to learn, you want to help others learn. And you have these broad interests, definitely the degree for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Palmer, for your time
Thank
today.
you. It was great to be here, and I
Yes.
appreciate the opportunity to meet your Facebook Live audience as well.
It was great to
Awesome.
hear all the amazing options that y'all have. I just appreciate that. Even the little bit that I knew, I feel like I learned even more today. So
Well,
thank you.
good,
I feel like
good.
I've been taking it back and just listening all day.
Yeah. So, you know, you all can always check this out, as it's going to stay recorded, and you can always get this information. Please remember that we continuously have Ask Admissions events that you all can check out, but don't forget, declaration days are almost over, so please make sure to do that. You do have 2 more days for that. Campus tours, try to check out those accepted student days or events that you can check out, our tours. You'll be able to get that extra information that you might need. And then, of course, signing up for orientation, don't forget. And then deadlines, May 1st for summer, June 1st for fall. So please make sure to contact us if you need anything at KSU admit@kennesaw.edu. And thanks so much for joining us today. Have a good day.